Hey everyone, Metagross Freak here with a product review, something I haven't done in quite some time, and that is one of the new Transformers for The Last Night. Now, I realize that the Michael Bay Transformers movie series is fairly controversial, but remember that Transformers is really all about the toys. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how this version of Grimlock pairs up. It looks, based on the design of the back, it basically just looks like a repaint of the Age of Extinction Grimlock. The only real difference is that this version of Grimlock is more silver and gunmetal as opposed to the original, which was gunmetal and kind of a gold, like a pearl gold. But it had like pearl gold and silver. It was kind of weird. This version is more movie accurate. However, we don't actually get to see, I think we only see Grimlock's mace like once in the movie. He spends most of his scenes in T-Rex form. Obviously, we have on the box, we have pictures of Grimlock in both modes and advertisement for the Voyager Optimus Prime, which I might be getting, because the Optimus Prime I have from, I believe it's Dark of the Moon, is actually kind of a crappy Optimus, I'm sad to say. We have a picture of his vehicle, his T-Rex mode, and it says Legendary Dinobots. So let me get this open, and we'll take a look at the premiere edition of Voyager Grimlock. There you go. Now that we have him mostly at the packaging, you can see he's very shiny, very silver, very chrome. He has a couple different shades of silver. He has kind of like a more of a reddish silver, and then more of like a bluish silver, and then kind of the gunmetal, and then like a metallic black. And his eyes are blue in this figure. His robot eyes are blue, and his T-Rex eyes are red. He's got a pretty solid robot mode, pretty chunky, which is to be expected considering he's supposed to be this heavily armored, big buff warrior. He comes with technically two accessories. He has this kind of pronged spear that I guess he can hold in one of his hands. This little handle piece here where my thumb is, and he also has this kind of spiked armor piece. I believe this is supposed to go on the tail in his T-Rex mode, but in robot mode, it just one pegs into the other to get kind of this mace staff. Though I kind of like the look of this spear. That's a pretty solid weapon. Though if you're going to smash this against anything, the mace head's going to pop off. One thing I do want to note is that he's got a good amount of kibble on the back. He's got basically the entire lower half of his T-Rex jaw, which by the way is spring-loaded, and he has a piece here on his back. It does fold up pretty well, but still he's got a good amount of kibble on his back. His legs are also kind of hollow. Like if he gets pushed back too far, his legs, his feet that is, just easily fold in and out. So don't be surprised if he just falls backwards on a shelf or whatever. He also has kind of narrow hips. He can't splay his legs very well, and as you can see, I'm trying to balance him, and he's kind of doing this little shimmy. He does have an Autobot symbol on him, though it's very tiny and hard to see. It's right here on his shoulder. Also, kind of a weird thing is if you move his arms up, you kind of flip up his entire front half of his torso. So you have to be if you want to pose his arms, you have to move the arms individually. You can't just like rotate it up, or you'll basically bring his entire torso section with you. But not too bad so far. I do want to compare him really quickly with another Voyager. Here's one of my favorites from the Michael Bay Transformers line, and that is Voyager Shockwave. I am a big fan of Shockwave, and as you can see, they're roughly the same size. I mean, Shockwave is a little bit bulkier, making up for the fact that Grimlock is a little bit taller and a little bit more striking. He's taller and thinner as opposed to Shockwave, who's a little shorter but also a little bulkier. All right, that took longer than I expected. It took about 10 or 15 minutes to transform him the first time. Um, the problem with the instructions is currently, the instructions now are all completely grayscale, and just the parts that you're supposed to move are red. Um, Considering the background is grayscale and Grimlock is all different colors of gray, it was really hard to figure out kind of sometimes which parts they were talking about. But in fact, I even mistransformed the T-Rex torso bits right here. They were originally on the sides, and I rotated them down here after double checking the picture in the on the box. And I was like, oh, I mistransformed it. Overall, it's actually kind of a decent dinosaur mode, though I believe this isn't really a T-Rex. I believe it's more accurate to refer to this as like a Carnosaurus, and that's mostly because of these horns or ears. Those remind me more of a Carnosaurus. If they don't move, they're just basically hard plastic horns. That actually really surprises me. Same thing with the horn on Grimlock's helmet, which, by the way, is over here. It just sticks out of the middle of his back, the little horn on his helmet. Um, it surprises me those are hard plastic, as it seems like one of those things that Hasbro would go with a more rubbery plastic. Same thing with the spear end and the spikes on the mace. I'm really surprised those are hard plastic rather than a softer plastic. Though it could be that too many product tests were showing those to become too brittle. Um, but yeah, this is his robot mode. Just as not his robot mode, his T-Rex or dinosaur mode. Obviously, you have to have his accessory go somewhere. In robot mode, it can be either held in his arms or stored on his back. Unfortunately, I did not show that. But there are these little tabs on the tail on both sides, and you can slide it into these little tabs on the mace so that it basically will hold on there, making his tail even longer and kind of making this part of a mace. You can detach this so he just has like a stub mace tail, kind of like an Ankylosaurus, but that looks kind of weird because it just is basically a flat butt end on a relatively short tail. Including the spear end does make the tail look a little comically long and narrow on the tip, but it's up to you. Personally, I'm kind of more of a fan of just leaving this off and just having kind of this kind of thick yet flat tail. One really cool thing I did not know about this is there's a little button on the side. It's a little black button on a dark gray section, but you can kind of see that with enough contrast right there. This little tab button on the left side, and pushing that makes them om nom nom. So as you can see here, that's probably just a little spring mechanism in there. That's pretty neat. So you can just, walk up to Decepticons and chomp, chomp, chomp them. I really like that feature. Also, a lot of the joints are pretty loose. Like these knee joints I'm having to fix quite frequently. It's really weird that the feet tab into what is essentially the ankles, meaning you limit the number of poses you can get to basically just what the knees and hips will support. And the last kind of weird thing is if you're familiar with the transformation, you can, or at least if you're willing to look at it, you can clearly see his robot head just kind of like on the middle of his back, or I guess to be more correct, literally his robot head is on his ass, and you can clearly see his chest plate with the teeth. So it's kind of obvious that. It's kind of obvious where his head is supposed to be, but it is a pretty cool robot mode. I wish they had put a little bit more detail on the feet, because right now they're just that pearl silver. I'm happy with it, though the price is a little steep. At time of release, this Voyager version of Grimlock sold at Target for $30. And I kind of wish I had known it was 30 going in, because the last time I bought a Transformer at all, Voyagers were, I think, 20 or 25, so I was not expecting him to be that steep. Um, and by the way, just as a size comparison, here is animal mode or dino mode, Grimlock, compared to that same shockwave I showed before. Um, as you can see, they are still about the same size. I wish I had transformed Shockwave to show this, but yeah, they're about the same size. Obviously, Shockwave is now taller, but Grimlock, because of the way he kind of folds up, is a lot bulkier. Anyway, I hope this has been a cool look at Voyager Grimlock from Transformers The Last Night, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Grimlock is incorporated into the plot. The Dinobots kind of came in as a kind of last act weapon to help defeat Galvatron, Stinger, and the rest of the basically protoform Decepticons. So I'm curious to see how he'll be involved in this next one. Until next time, I'm Edgar's Freak, and thanks for watching.